Well, hello, Tom Neitzke. Nice to see you. And I'm delighted that, first of all, I'm delighted to say congratulations.
Thank-
I sort of feel like I should be saying congratulations to Arrupe College because Arrupe and Loyola and Chicago are all so lucky to benefit from you and your leadership and your smarts and your experience and your sense of humor. I think my first memory of you, Tom, I don't know if you remember this or not, I used to host those conferences on trustees for Catholic higher ed and secondary ed in San Francisco at the St. Francis Hotel. And you attended one, you participated, you were a board chair at that time. And I instantly liked you, a lot of laughs, great questions, very savvy. And I thought, all right, this is a really, this is a good guy. So again, congratulations.
Well, thanks. It's great. It's great. It was a fun process to go through, and I'm excited to be here now.
All right, excellent. So Tom, for folks who don't know your background much, give us a little, a little history of Tom Neitzke.
So I grew up in Port Washington, Wisconsin, which is just about 30 miles north of Milwaukee, small town there. Went to public high school. And then after high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And my dad's best friend in town was the funeral director in the town I grew up in. And my dad said to me, why don't you think about being a funeral director? I said, okay. So I tried that for a little bit and realized that was not the way I wanted to spend the rest of my life. And I'd always thought about being a priest, but never really took that seriously. And so I always had that there, but, didn't really know what to do with it. And so a good friend of mine was teaching at the Nativity School in Milwaukee at the time. And that was a middle school for Latino boys, then 5th through 8th grade. And he said, you should come here and volunteer with me and start, check this out. So I went and I volunteered and I taught and I worked at their summer program. They had a camp in northern Wisconsin. And that's when I really got to know the Jesuits there through working with them there. And so after a year with them, that's when I joined the Jesuits. And then that was in 1999. And then, had the normal course of studies. I was at the novitiate in St. Paul for 2 years, and part of that was a stint teaching down in Belize taught high school there for a few months, and then went up to back up to St. Paul, took my vows, and then was sent to Loyola Chicago. So I was at Loyola for 3 years and had a great time when I was at Loyola studying philosophy and theology, and got to work with some great people. Lived in the dorms for a year as a chaplain. And so that was a lot of fun in a freshman dorm. I don't think it was Creighton Hall actually, which is funny. I don't know if it's still around, but got to work with some great folks there and with Alpha Sigma Nu on campus. And after that, went to Creighton Prep in Omaha, Nebraska, where I am now as a regent, as a scholastic. And I was a teacher here, and I was an assistant principal. And that's also the time where I did my master's out at the University of San Francisco in Catholic educational leadership. And then after Regency, was in Berkeley, California for my theology studies. And my ministry there was working in a women's federal prison, which was a great experience for me and to help train me to be a great pastor and priest. And then after that, I got the call to come back to Omaha, and was first principal and then president of our middle school here, which is school 4th through 8th grade for African-American boys. And then also then after 5 years there, came here to Creighton Prep, where I'm finishing up my time. And so I've been president for the past 5 years here. And a lot of other stops along the road, but that's the highlights.
All right, terrific. You mentioned the Nativity School in Milwaukee, and then the Jesuit Academy in Omaha, and of course, Chicago Jesuit Academy is well known to a lot of folks at Loyola University and at Arrupe. Can you speak a little bit more about that experience and that population of students?
Well, it's why I entered the Society of Jesus. So when after working with that group of boys and families and faculty in Milwaukee, I thought for the rest of my life, I said, I want to teach in the Nativity School. That was my dream as a Jesuit, to do that. And then, of course, through my studies, I thought, well, no, maybe I'm going to teach high school, maybe I'm going to work in the university. And so when I was able to go back, you know, after 11 years of formation to the Nativity School, it rekindled in me why I want to do this in the first place, to be a priest and to be a Jesuit. And that was the mission of being able to serve a population of students who, you know, wouldn't otherwise get a Jesuit education, wouldn't otherwise have that great experience. And just the dedication of the faculty and staff of an institution like that, that's small and it's focused. It was the spirit around them so contagious to help these young guys, you know, achieve their potential. And some of these guys, students really struggled, but through that kind of model, that's, you know, as you know well, just, you know, it's that wraparound model similar to Arrupe, where, you know, longer school days, extended school year, and just every service that we can have available to these guys, you know, we offer it. And so it was, you know, it was my dream come true when I got to go back there. And then while I was there, I think a big part for me was, it's still, after 20 years, the school was there for 20 years, and it still wasn't very well known within the community of North Omaha, which is predominantly African American. And so I spent a lot of my time networking with local nonprofits and parishes and churches to get our brand out there and to expand the school, and especially with partnerships like with the Boys and Girls Club, just to help retain and get more students as well, and just partner and continue to build on a great program. And we were able to build a great summer camp for the kids, which was probably my most fun project while I was there, to keep them active in the summer, keep their learning going as well.
All right. Well, you know, as a high school president at Creighton Prep, you've had a lot of projects. What's, you know, an experience of the last several years during your time at Creighton Prep that, you know, an achievement, a milestone, something that, you know, you are really proud of, you're really happy about?
There's a lot of them. In 5 years, we've been able to do a lot of great work here. But one of them is something that's just finishing right now. Actually, 10 minutes ago, I was standing in front of it, looking at they're finishing the landscaping. And that was a 53,000 square foot addition to the school, which was built to house all of our student services. What I had found when I got here was we had some student services, and they were spread throughout the building, and the faculty and the staff weren't really connecting or working together. And so I started to think, if we had a space for all these people to work in collaboratively and the students to be a part of that space as well, it would really consolidate and I think benefit the larger school population. And so we hired for the first time a school psychologist. We hired for the first time a director of outreach and advocacy who really worked with and continues to work with our minority students. And also to recruit a more diverse faculty for that program, and also student body. Our diversity at Prep when I first got here was about 7 to 8%. In the city of Omaha is about 14%. And probably one of the things I'm most proud of is this freshman class our current freshman class is 25% diverse. And this project, I think, is one of the reasons those students are able to be at Prep now, because they have the support needed around them to get them through the 4 years here at Prep. And so being able to build that building was great, but also the staffing around it and you know, to provide the services that the guys need. So it's a pretty cool new addition to the school. And, you know, and in the 5 years here, we were able to do a STEM lab, build a STEM lab, which was just an outstanding project, and then create the curriculum around that as well. That we didn't have. So that was also a fun project.
Good, excellent. So your 5 years at Creighton Prep overlap with, I mean, you know, when you started, we were enrolling the first class here. You know, Arrupe's received a lot of attention. What attracted you to this this new college, this new academic unit at Loyola University?
It was this book.
Thank you, Tom.
I read it. I really did. It was actually, it's funny because this book came in the mail to the superior of our house, and I remember reading it and thinking like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And so,
what's the book, just in case someone doesn't know?
Come to Believe, Education, again, by Stephen N. Katsouros, SJ. Price tag on it, but the stories in here intrigue me, and if anybody knows me well, they know that that's what I love the most. I love to tell stories, and I love to hear other people's stories. And so when this opportunity came up, when it was announced you were leaving, I thought to myself, like, this is an amazing place because it has already, in this short time, it has amazing stories to tell. And so listening to you talk, reading the book, and just knowing what's out there about Arrupe, that's really where I got attracted to it first. And then just this whole new mission of Jesuit education, as we just mentioned about the Nativity schools, that wraparound model, where faculty and staff are more than just, a teacher. They are so much more, and there's so much more invested, not only in the institution, but in each other and the students as well. And the students then, from what I've read and listened to, are invested as well into the faculty and the staff. And so it's a different, like back to that nativity model, it's just a different spirit that, we don't find in all of our schools. And so that was very attractive and still remains the attractive part. What are the stories and that whole piece, the affordability piece, that higher education doesn't mean that it has to be higher debt. And how do we provide an opportunity for more young people to experience a Jesuit education? And especially through Arrupe. I mean, it's being able to do that is a great mission. And so I'm really proud and excited to be a part of it now.
Excellent. Well, as we are as well. So, all right, here's an opportunity for you. What would you like to say to the Arrupe community?
I think to everybody, to the faculty and the staff and the students and friends of the school, I think for me, it goes back to that. I can't wait to meet you in person. And I can't wait to hear the stories. And specifically, what is it that made you choose Arrupe? And what keeps you at Arrupe? And what are the hopes and dreams that you have as students? What are your hopes and dreams for yourself personally? For the faculty and staff, what are the hopes and dreams that you have for the college? And how do we partner together to make sure that we can achieve those? For me, yeah, I think that's, I can't wait to be just together in this mission, and that we're in it together. And this is a strange time. Today was our last day of classes here in Omaha for our students, and we had our final meetings and mass together, and it just wasn't the same not being in the same building or rooms together. But that, I have this statue of St. Ignatius behind me, and it's a very unique statue of Ignatius because it was commissioned for the middle school, and they gave me one as well. And you can't really see it here, but Ignatius is stepping on the cannonball. I said, I've never seen a statue of Ignatius with a cannonball. Everybody knows that story, but I said, can we get one where there's a cannonball in it? And the artist put it with Ignatius stepping on it, saying that, no matter our obstacles, no matter the crisis, whatever it is, and the cannonballs will keep being shot at you through life. It's not just one usually, but Ignatius in this statue is staring forward, marching forward, and he's not letting that get in our way. And so, that would be my message, that it's not going to be an easy transition for me, especially in this time where there's so much, doubt or, uncertainty. But I know from what I've learned about the folks at Arrupe that, like Ignatius, I think looking to the future, full of hope, knowing that we're in this together, we can accomplish anything. So again, I'm just excited to get in the car and get to Arrupe.
that's what fuels Arrupe College, where our colleagues and our students and the larger community. And it's also a place of extraordinary relationships and partnerships. And I just look forward to watching this all unfold, under your leadership. So again, Tom, thanks for making the time on this last day at Creighton Prep, and Chicago awaits you.
Well, thanks, Steve, and thank you for all your work and for your continued work that you continue to help all of us at Arrupe. So thanks.